Okay, so at the top of our code, we have our global variables. First, we have the score, which is set to 0 when the game begins. Then we have our current scene. That just has our different splash screens on it, so it goes from 0 to 3. And then we have our collision. Collision is automatically set to 0 because it's how the egg naturally is, and the egg in the game always falls until the player tells it to go up. So that's why it's set to false. And next up, we have our con button class that creates our buttons. And then we have our start button, which is this right here, our play button, which is on the instruction screen, and then our instructions button. This is the instruction screen itself. This is our start screen, which is this one, our welcome screen. And then our game screen, which is just where the player plays the game. And this one, these two right here, and for player, all three, they have the parameters and they construct the player itself. Okay, and then this here, player.prototype.move, this function, it basically gives the player the control to move the egg in the game. So we have the right and the left. If you move the arrows to the right, the egg goes right. If you move it to the left, the egg goes left. Oh, and this is when the player falls, and it falls at a certain speed. Bar monster and bar monster as an array are two things that we were going to add to the game. We ended up not doing it, and it's still here. These are the arrays for the 4 blocks that we're going to be using for the egg. When the player hits the egg, as you can see in the second, collision is true because it allows the player to go up like that, right here, like that, keeps going up. And it goes up at a certain place. Oh, that's game over screen. Else, it's false and the player goes down. Next, we have our blocks. This draws the blocks that we have, and the next up here is our for loops that basically create a new block every time. Creates a new block every time. Every time one goes off the screen. And this is also, we have a start block because we realized that the egg always starts in one position, but since we have the for loop set, since we have the blocks arriving in random locations, sometimes the player would automatically die before they even began the game, which was not fair, so we created a start block from the very beginning. Then we have a restart button, and then our mouse clicked function, which just has all the buttons. Our game over screen with the score on it. And then we have our draw function, which has a start screen, instruction screen, and when the player is below 450 pixels, meaning that the egg has fallen off the screen, it automatically goes to the third screen, which is the game over screen. These are all of our 4 blocks, and then our players, or our player hitting the block, our start block. Oh, and this is just for the score. So if the player keeps going up at a certain rate and like at a certain place in the game, then they get 1 score. And if they hit the block, then they get another point. This makes it so that the blocks stay where they are, and this has it so that they appear in random locations, starting from 0 going all the way up to 400 on the X and Y coordinate. Oh, and this right here is just to check to see that the method is working correctly at the right places. And at the very bottom, we have the score. The score gets on the screen and draws the player. Okay, that is all.